What's going on, everyone? DC NBA Junkie here, and today I'm going to be talking about the Gordon Hayward signing with the Charlotte Hornets for a reported 4 years, $120 million. So yeah, sit back, enjoy, and feel free to subscribe. So Gordon Hayward signed with the Charlotte Hornets for a reported 4 years, $120 million. It was told by ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. And when I look at this, obviously, from the surface, it's an overpay. Gordon Hayward was not going to get this from any other team, and I'm confident he didn't get that from any other team. I know that teams, some of the high salary teams, were in play for Gordon Hayward, and they actually offered him some sizable contracts, which is likely why he declined his player option. It doesn't make sense for him to decline it and not look into that money. He obviously was looking for some longevity, some financial security, and he was getting that from some low market teams. So I can see why Gordon Hayward was interested in doing such type of move. So when we look at Gordon Hayward's career, he's only made one All-Star appearance in that 2016-27 Utah season. That was the year where he averaged 21, and that was essentially the year that got him. It was his expiring deal, and that's when got him that max money on the Boston Celtics. So, and then we all know the story. Minutes into that game, the first game of the NBA season, he gets injured, and it kind of sets back his career definitely. And now he's kind of in a rough situation. But according to this contract, not necessarily, because now he's going to be making $30 million for the next 4 years. It's kind of crazy to think about. But just think about his career. I've never seen a player get two max contract-worthy type of contracts when only making one All-Star appearance. And I think there's actually a stat about that. He might be one of the only players of all time to ever get that kind of money or deal just from one All-Star appearance. But at the end of the day, Charlotte is a team that isn't going to pull in any big-time free agents. They just are a low-market team. They have Michael Jordan as their owner, obviously, but they're just not an attracting franchise right now. They haven't been for a long time. And I think Gordon Hayward is their big signing since Al Jefferson in the early 2010s. But, Gordon Hayward did have a pretty good comeback season. He averaged 17.5 points per game. He totaled in 6.7 rebounds and collected 4.1 assists. So he definitely had a good season. And I could see a world where Gordon Hayward could get back to that 20-plus point per game season. And he might actually do that next year on a team with not a lot of direction, and that new young starting rookie of LaMelo Ball, the new sensation, that is likely going to get them some some television and some attention around the league. But when we see this move, I want to kind of look at this from a Charlotte fit and what I think this looks like for the Charlotte Hornets. He's the starting three. Obviously, he's their best player on the team, the most proven star on their team. I wouldn't even call him a star, just the most proven player on the team. I don't know what this team's ceiling is. We know that adding Gordon Hayward doesn't make you a contender, and I don't think it really elevates you to the point where you're a playoff contender. I think you are a 8th seed contention. It just depends on how the rest of the team situates. I don't know what they're going to do with Terry Rozier. It seems like he's not going to really be part of their future. You have Devontae Graham, who surely seems like the point guard that they want to keep, at least starting next to LaMelo or backing up LaMelo. But right now it seems like he'll be starting next to him. I don't see any reason why Charlotte would bring in LaMelo Ball and not give him the keys to the team to start, or at least give him that starting position. He's going to get that position, but I just don't know if there's a spot or a world where Terry Rozier is on this team in the near future, and he could likely get traded soon enough. But, the team doesn't really have a lot of direction. They have a lot of young players. I don't really know how Miles Bridges fits now. He likely seems like he's going to be coming off the bench. Malik Monk could be likely coming off the bench. P.J. Washington, it's going to be his second season next year. I think there's a lot of opportunities there for him. I think he still can be a very impactful player. He already had a pretty impressive rookie season. He had a pretty good first game of the rookie season, but there's definitely a lot of opportunity there. I just don't know. There's really not a lot in terms of what this move is going to do for them in the future. A Sports Illustrated article kind of graded this move, and they kind of felt like this is a below-average move for them. But at the same time, you kind of had to realize Charlotte wasn't bringing in anything else. This is the best they could do, and And it's not like they totally botched this deal. This is not like an F move where it's like, we just know this is going to be terrible. It's like they're bringing in a guy that could potentially become an all-star here, because the East of it doesn't have, it's not as loaded as the Western Conference, but two, he's in a place where he can flourish, and he has a good playmaker in LaMelo Ball who could set him up. And Gordon Hayward is a shot creator. We've seen him do a lot of things in Utah, and we even saw a little bit in Boston in this final season. But now he's going to be going from likely a fourth option. I mean, he was going to be the likely second option, we can really think about it, in Boston with Kyrie Irving, and then he bumped down the third because we started to see Jason Tatum be good, and then we swap Kyrie with Kemba, and Kemba still prioritized higher than Gordon Hayward because he's coming back from injury, and then we see Jaylen Brown flourishing and becoming a borderline all-star. So now Hayward has become a fourth option, or was a fourth option in Boston this season, and now he's going to become likely the first and the primary option for the Charlotte Hornets. And so my overall opinion on this move, I don't really like it for them. I mean, as soon as I saw the notification, I know it's an overpay. Everybody in the league knows it's an overpay. To me, it seems like what it's gonna come down to is if Charlotte can get the most out of Gordon Hayward, but more importantly, the most out of their young guys with Gordon Hayward's presence there. I don't see them doing any play. If they make the playoffs, there's no playoff success for them. I think making the playoffs for them is a success in itself. Gordon Hayward is going to provide that veteran leadership. He's going to provide the scoring that they need at times. You know, there might be games where Gordon Hayward does win them games, gets 35 and wins it for them. And it's just going to happen because that's the type of player Gordon Hayward is if he doesn't get injured or something like that doesn't happen to the team. But at the end of the day, this move doesn't elevate their team whatsoever. It just kind of gives them something to look forward to. I know Michael Jordan has been a big fan into Gordon Hayward. I think when he had the opportunity, he tried signing, when he was a restricted free agent, Gordon Hayward to a deal, but the Jazz matched it. I think that's how it went down, or it was with the Boston Celtics. It's one of those moves, but I think it was 2014. Michael Jordan offered him a deal, but he was a restricted free agent, and now he's not, and he decided to go to Charlotte. But like I said, there was a lot of other teams I heard that had the cap space and were willing to give him at least $25 million for 4 years, but Charlotte comes in and said, hey, we got an extra $10 million we can throw in per year, or $5 million per year, and so they can offer $30 million per year, and that's exactly what the case is here. So once again, I think it should be we should be focusing on LaMelo Ball moving forward for Charlotte. That's kind of what I think Charlotte should be doing, but once again, I'm kind of I just don't know where this is going to go for them, because especially in those later years in the contract, this could prove to be that could really prove to see what this contract is going to become, or what it resulted in. If Gordon Hayward if he starts to become the regressing player like Blake Griffin did, and just kind of become a big overpay, not just like where he is now, but he just regressed and the contract's still increasing, or it's at where it currently is, at around $30 million, I just don't think this is going to look very good for Charlotte, and it's going to be a hard contract to just hold moving forward. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about this move. If you enjoyed, feel free to subscribe, and I'm out.